I'm well aware of the fact that it is great for us to gather together, but my responsibility as the under shepherd is not just to feed the sheep, but it is also to protect the sheep. So in effort of using wisdom and taking extreme precautions, how I would love to fellowship face to face in full swing. I have walked across the grass of cemeteries and down the hallways of hospitals due to COVID. So in wisdom and in faith, the church has left the building. But we are doing this in an effort to go viral virtually. In the meantime, we are still gonna share the word and the worship every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Facebook and on Instagram. We will still have our seed sowing platforms available for you to give your tithes and for you to give your offerings. We will still be doing ministry in the community and praying for the safety and sanity of not only our church, but for our nation, for our leadership that's over the nation and in our communities. Dear God, we thank you. We thank you so much for you just being who you are in our lives, God. God, and as we close this series out, God, we just thank you for all that was learned, all that was shared. And God, we're just asking that you continue to direct our paths, God, that we may not stray away from your way. We thank you in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Previously on For Love's Sake.
Let's just say when you were single and you were living in a life of sin, and you were here, there, and everywhere. The job that you have to take on as the wife now is to be all of those people in one.
Yeah. Love and like is the same word to me.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, but some days I don't like you.
Yeah, some days.
There is a part of this relationship that is me. And so I have to also let that be known.
The Bible is written actually for individuals. And God in his infinite wisdom understands that if individuals understand what the word is saying, everything will work out in your relationships.
Something like a flower when it first blooms, like the sunset over the ocean in the month of June, like the scene on the city lights from a mountain's view, like going 50 years strong, but still in love with you. When I look around at all the things God has done, he's made a lot of wonders, but you're the best one. You're the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. You're the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And you're all mine, all mine, all mine, all mine, mine. This beautiful thing, this beautiful thing, this beautiful thing.
I would say friendship. I feel like I also personally I don't see myself being in a relationship with someone that I wasn't friends with, just because of how I am with emotions and feelings and things. I feel more comfortable if I have a friendship, and I also feel like you're more willing to work things out or root for your partner if you have a friendship, because you're a little bit more understanding to your friend.
I really want my girlfriend to be my girl and my friend.
Yeah.
Right? More importantly, my friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that takes time. And over time, you know what I'm saying, you guys start to match each other's energy, and moving on to becoming the girlfriend would be easier.
Dating for me is, you know, you're exclusive. This is the only person that you're going out with, and you know, you're talking to. There are no other people.
See,
you know,
that's when we go
involved.
together. That's what you call that,
Right. I mean, so when I was younger, going together and dating were the same, one and the same.
What's interesting about how our generation operates is that I think the lines aren't very clear, but everybody kind of gives off the energy that they want you to have. Now, you know, the dating process is not this, I don't have ownership over you. I don't want you to feel like, oh, because we're dating or we go on dates or we go out, that this is us being in a relationship, because we're not. I think the dating process is kind of definitely not courting. You know, those definitions have changed over the years, but I don't want you to ever think that because we're dating that it's just you.
Yeah, that's problematic because I've run into some issues there.
You know,
I've gone on full dates not knowing it was a date. Like showed up in shorts and a tank top. It's like, hey, yeah, like a sweater and a button up. Had ordered lamb chops. It was bad.
And it's really all about communication. I feel like when it's not communicated, like some people think, or you know, there's certain generations or people that feel like, oh, if we're dating, then it's just me and you. But if it's not communicated, that other person, and I feel like when people aren't open about what they're trying to do, that's when the issues come in, because one person can be thinking like, oh, we're dating exclusively, and then another person's like, oh no, this is like a speed date type situation. So if you're not, you know, open about it in that sense, that's when, and I think when people do that, they're doing it on purpose. Because why not say?
Because I was about to say, I also feel like people like to pick and choose when those terms mean what.
Exactly.
And I don't want to do this, but I do see guys do
I'm about to say that is more of a guy thing.
Yeah.
It's a guy thing.
Yeah.
Women gonna do it and not say nothing.
Yeah.
We gonna do it. It just is what it is. But guys will be doing their thing while y'all are dating, and then as soon as you start, well, I talked to, you know, this other guy, or we went, now you got an attitude.
Yeah.
It's
like, why didn't you just say something? Like, we didn't have to.
Because they don't want you to do it. They want to do it. And then when they're ready, then now you need to fall in line as well.
Because I know when I was dating or whatever, when you say you dating, you exclusive. But now, people be dating and dating and dating and dating.
It depends on who you talk to. That's why you gotta actually set the boundaries when you're actually trying to work on a situation.
Yeah.
Somebody, I know a lot of situationships that there was no real feelings from a man perspective, but from a female perspective, she's like, oh, well, he did this, he did that, he did that. So yeah, we gotta set the boundary right there. So if we're dating, then yes, we're trying to really actually get to know each other. We're actually gonna go do little outings. We're gonna actually try to establish something. Mm-hmm. But if there's nothing to look forward to for real, and I just know I'm just trying to kick it, then yeah, sit down. Let them know like I'm not really looking for nothing serious at the moment.
I feel like it's steps, right? So I always say is the talking stage, the dating stage, dating exclusively, then relationship, right? Mm. So let's just say I go to Walmart, right? I go to Walmart, I see this nice woman, you know what I'm saying? I walk up to her, start talking to her, I get a number, right? So we text and talk. I'm like, hey, you know, this is going good. Let's go out over food and drinks. Now keep in mind, just because she go out with me on Tuesday don't mean she can't go out with somebody else on Wednesday, right? Because she owes me no loyalty.
Right.
She owes me no loyalty. So we go out on the date was cool. So we go on 2-3 more dates, right? So it'll come to a point in time when you guys are dating exclusively, right? Like you're only dealing with each other. After that, you know, the relationship comes.
Man, my pet peeve, to be honest, is I just can't stand a liar, dog. If I catch you in the lie, I'm done. Even if it's a little one, you know. I
don't deal with gold diggers. Liars. I would have to go with the liars.
Lies.
Now, if I catch you in a lie, I can't trust you no more. Like, after you lie to me, it's tough to come back from a lie.
Especially when you in the dating stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have no reason to.
My pet peeve is just, you know, just people, just them not being open and honest about what they're feeling. I feel like it's just an easy thing to just tell me what it is that you're feeling and where you're headed. But I feel like, you know, a guy will kind of project how he's feeling or how he thinks I'm feeling, or you know, what he doesn't necessarily want to happen on to me. Because I've gotten that too, like, oh, you know, I just didn't want to lead you on, and I felt like, you know, you were feeling some kind of way, but I've given you no indication that, you know, I'm feeling that way, that my feelings have changed. I'm telling you I'm cool. I'm not necessarily trying to be in this relationship. I'm not trying to marry you or anything like that. I understand where you are. I let you know where I am mentally, you know, spiritually, and, you know, all of that stuff. Why is it that you are able to put this thing on me like, you know, well, I just felt like, you know, you were
like making decisions for you.
Right.
I'm like, dang, people, I'm always having to listen, but then when it's my turn to talk, I can tell that you weren't listening to me by how you responded.
Right.
That is not what I said.
Yeah.
And that's my pet peeve. Like, dang, I know I'm a good listener because people are always talking to me. So I'm always listening. I feel like my line of communication is always open. And not with everybody, but there's the majority of the time it's not reciprocated. And I'm sitting there like, dang, because I am such a good listener, I can tell when somebody's not listening to me. And so then they'll say something like just to give me a response, or it'll be something completely off topic. And I'm like, dang, you weren't even, I can tell you weren't listening by how you responded. So now my feelings are hurt. Good day.
Yeah.
Some women, I feel like men can do it too, but since the conversation is our pet peeves, some women do lie initially in the dating part, like in the beginning. I mean, the truth will probably come out later, but in the beginning, they probably tell a little white lie that they consider to be a little white lie, but could end up being a deal breaker.
But what if that was the reason that I fell for you?
Yeah.
But see, that's what's disheartening about the whole being a human, I guess. You always feel obligated to act a certain way that has nothing to do with your person. Like, I think I got to a point where it was like, this is what it is. I'm gonna pass gas. You know, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I have a horrible, I curse. If you don't like that, I'm also sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna party when I want to. I'm not a party animal, but if you don't like that, I'm sorry. This is what you get.
Right.
And so that way, how I feel versus how you think I'm supposed to act isn't, you know, miscommunicated, because I'm giving you, this is me.
I don't think people even want to do that type of stuff and just be like, work through it. It's like, oh, well, never mind. I'm just going to keep on to the
But
next.
that's a part of our, I think that's a generational thing too. We are from the era of instant gratification. Mm-hmm. You know, I can order something on Amazon and get it today.
What I want,
it's exactly what
it,
and that's just not, you know, how life works. Even with relationships, everything is not perfect. There is no such thing as checking off all the boxes. It's just not, it's not realistic.
Because women are on a time clock, men are on a financial clock. So y'all ain't waiting.
Where are you getting this information from? I need some receipts.
It's like the truth though.
It is the truth.
Because I think, to me, women are more concerned about security.
Where are y'all from?
So most women, I'm not gonna say all, but most women have a particular timeline where they want to be in a relationship, probably be married, and have kids, especially the having kids part. Mm-hmm. That's where the women are on the time clock, men are on the financial clock come from.
So what is how's the man's financial clock work?
Some men, I don't know, become, I ain't gonna say insecure, but men are providers. If men don't have the financial means to provide for his woman, I don't know.
So once again, though, that's not, I don't think that that's a bad thing. If you want to say, these are certain things that I want to be stable with, or I want to be in the serious, committed, long-term relationship. But having the idea, or putting out that that message, and not saying specifically, but like, you know, general idea of like, you're rushing me, comes off That's a different sentiment than I want to be able to provide for you in this type of way, and I want to be able to do this for you because I know of your wants, and because of that, I'm not ready to be in this space with you.
So how long
That's a
you
different
wait?
conversation than you telling me,
Just you're
don't
rushing
rush
me.
me. I don't
I
want to
need-
have to deal with you right now.
It needs to be on my own time.
Right,
Yeah.
That's-
right.
Because you can have a conversation about that, and maybe if you were open with her about that, it could be like, okay, well, maybe this is a conversation to sit down and plan. Do we see each other together? How do we see each other doing that? Like then you open more of a dialogue about it versus like, I just don't want to deal with this right now. Come back to me in 3 weeks after I've gone to a couple more parties.
This series has been powerful and powerful. And today's emphasis on individual freedom has slightly been misguided. But today I want to share with you not necessarily the perspective, but a perspective. See, the thing is that strong individuals are very important, but strong relationships are also important. See, God created relationships. He created friendships and partnerships, marriages. He created all those things for us to have help and for us to also enjoy. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:22, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. In the text, we see that it says finds a good thing, but it does not say find a perfect thing. And what we have to strive for in our expectation is not for perfection, but we are to look for evolution. How a person evolves into what it is that we are expecting or what goals we even have.
Or as simple as if there's a one person in a relationship or in the dating stage that's like, okay, let's make this exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Once the other person agrees, now it's a...
Because to be honest, you're not in a relationship until the guy asks you to be in a relationship.
Is it the guy?
Wait, the
that has
guy
to
asks you to
ask?
be in a relationship?
You don't think so?
No.
No.
Why is that a thing? Come on, gender roles.
Oh, you're right. So y'all proposed too?
I didn't say I was doing all that.
Why? What's gender roles?
I just don't want to.
Well,
But
that's your preference. That's your
I
preference.
know.
Me personally, when that happens, I feel like it's kind of rushed.
When it's the girl?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Because I feel like it's kind of rushed.
Is that because that's a control thing, I think.
Not a control thing, or I'm just not ready. Because if I wanted you to be my girlfriend, I would have made you my girlfriend.
Who has to wait for you?
Nobody. You can leave.
I'm saying the idea of like it's rushed if it's not on my terms is crap to me. And it's, once again, it's your personal preference.
Right.
And it's probably not the only personal preference, or you're not the only guy with that personal preference.
Right.
But to say like if a girl feels like she might be ready to establish something, y'all can't ask for communication and then say, oh well, you're rushing me. That's me proposing like this is what I want to do with you, and if you don't want to do it, nobody is obligated to wait.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be on your terms. She doesn't have to wait for you to ask her either, and vice versa.
I don't want to get it twisted that a woman should sit idle and wait for a man to come and sweep her off her feet. I don't think that that's what the text is asking a woman to do. You look at the fact that we use as a relationship goal the story of Ruth and Boaz. And in that situation, if you look at how they got together, there was an intentionality of Ruth for her to get Boaz interested or even attracted to her. And if you look at Ruth 3:3 in the text, wash thyself therefore and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor. But make not thyself known unto the man until he shall have done eating and drinking. In the text, this is Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi. And she's telling her, go on in there and wash up, put you some perfume on, and I want you to go down to where Boaz is, and not necessarily be aggressive, not necessarily be thirsty or anything like that, but just go down there and cause him to recognize, get his attention by how you look, get his attention by how you smell.
Yeah, because they definitely got to bring something else to the table.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be no person that's going to accept me and my son, but don't got no job.
Right.
I mean, because there's a lot of those out there that's going to be like, oh, he got a job, oh, he got some money, oh, he can dress too, oh, he might be able to put on for me as well. Nah.
But you know, it's a lot of variables that play into that though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, she has to look presentable. She has to be my piece. But at the same time, she got to have something going for herself. Because me personally, at this day and age, I don't want to take care of another grown individual.
We're coming out of where women were kind of complacent. Like, you know, they stayed with a dude or, you know, a man that really wasn't treating them like anything, but it looked good. You know, we have kids and he works and I'm at home, and now you have this new wave of women and men that are like, I can get it on my own. What else can you offer me? Because I don't want that anymore. And then, you know, it just continues to change. But now, with that being said, you have it where they also want it in their 20s. Like, I want a big house. I want 2 kids. I want a perfect job. I want a big butt because I'm going to go pay for it. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And a lot of my friends tell me I'm picky. But I tell them, people pick their cars, their food, even the clothes we got on today, we picked it out, you know what I'm saying? And this is temporary. We're going to take it off, you know what I'm saying? Get in the shower. Why can't I pick somebody to spend the rest of my life with?
You got to understand, a man that you are expecting to add value to your life has to see that you value or you have value within yourself. Don't get me wrong. I want you to know that it is an option, or it's optional how you want to pursue your relationship, or how you want to engage into relationship. It's not necessarily a script on if the man should approach the woman or if the woman should not. And if you're old school and you want to still go the old traditional way where man is to approach the woman, that's fine, and I understand that. But what I want you to understand is that it does not have to be that way. And that's not what we have been teaching, that scripture says that this is the way that it should go. And I think we have embedded in our hearts and in our minds the fact that if a man does not approach or does not come aggressively and does not pursue me first, then he's a weak man, or he doesn't have anything to bring to the table, or vice versa. If a woman is assertive and a woman, and like, again, I'm not saying that it's thirsty and I'm not saying that this is the way, but if a woman is not, if she's trying to go after, or if she's making herself attractive or making it known to get his attention that she's being thirsty, it does not have to go that way. If you think about it, in the Bible, during that dispensation, their marriages were arranged. So it's not necessarily that one particular sex even came to the realization that they are the ones that initiate things. So if we are to use the story of Ruth and Boaz, which is perfectly fine, we need to understand what Boaz represents in the text. Number one, Boaz represents a man with options. And a man with options oftentimes are reserved in their assertiveness. Number two, Boaz also represents a man that has good personality traits, a leader, wealthy, but is still introverted. And an introverted person does not approach strangers without a sign that everything is okay. And number three, Boaz also represents a person or a man that has emotional exhaustion from rejection. And you have to consider all of these things, especially when we're saying that we're looking for our Boaz. It's not in the content of the way that we have been teaching it.
Patience. You can't just want me to just wholeheartedly just jump into the situation or this relationship just because you're ready for a relationship, just because you see me as a person that you want. You can see me and a man for the rest of your life, or a husband, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it. Don't think that I'm just going to overnight say, all right, be mine. Like, I need patience. I need you to understand that I have been hurt before, and I'm not just going to open up right then and there because you want me to. I mean, you gotta work with me. Yeah, I try to be blunt.
Yeah.
If you can set me for me, you can set me with wild child now. You're gonna be able to set the wild child later, but if you can't accept me for me, then I don't know who you want me to be. I ain't gonna be him.
Then I was who I was. I was talented and I was able to do all these things and I was okay looking. I thought, whatever. And it didn't work. So then I'm like, okay, let me go into this next relationship or start dating other people and be the cool person. Like just kind of laid back. Whatever you want, that's what we'll do. It didn't happen then either. And then I was the more talkative person. And then I got, well, why are you talking so much? Or why are you asking so many questions? So it was like, no matter what I did, like no one was satisfied with that. And, I just, then I'm just here. Looking crazy, like what's wrong with everybody? Or what's wrong, actually, questioning myself, what's wrong with me, which is what a lot of women do because they don't know what guys want.
Women and men alike have issues. I mean, men, they don't really actually have the same types of cultural expectations of living under the pressure of having to look a certain way with their body, the way that their hair is done and the way that their makeup is. But men do have the pressure or the cultural expectations of what type of money they make or what type of accomplishments they have or even what type of power and influence they have. I believe there's a difference between like and attraction. 9 times out of 10, what we like is not necessarily what we are attracted to. The thing is that we have to live under the standard of possibility over guarantee. When you think about what possibility is and what that opens up in a relationship, especially in its early stages, is the fact that this may have the possibility to be what I'm expecting it to be. This may have the possibility to grow into the manifestation of what my mind depicts a good relationship to be. But oftentimes we go into a relationship wanting a guarantee that this is how it's going to be and this is what it's going to be. And a lot of us, we are attracted to the muscles. We are attracted to the glass bottle shape. But the thing is that what we actually like? Is that what we are searching for?
I think a lot of successful relationships, and I could be wrong, but from observation, it doesn't necessarily start with an attraction physically. Like most of the times, like, sometimes like love at first sight, or it could be attraction to the mind or a conversation that you had, or y'all was vibing off of the same song or whatever the case is. And then you end up with somebody whom your family or, it's not the person that type of person that you've always been attracted to. Like when you see, and this is an example, like when you see a really pretty girl with a guy that's not all that handsome, society standards, and she's like, why is she with him? That's what happened.
First and foremost, if we're being honest, sexual attraction. Off rip. Beyond that, somebody who can be my peace, really. At this age, is really peace.
You talk about P-E-A-C-E or the other piece?
Both.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact. That's
both.
fact. Some of us are at the age where random dating, we don't have time for random dating. And I don't want us to label someone as non-committable, especially when they're really just trying to make sure or to discern if they are ready to, I guess, accomplish what it is that they are expected to do or expected to accomplish.
There were times in some of those male relationships I had where, looking back, I definitely confused feelings. I think because we were so close and because it was my male friend, I was like, oh, these strong feelings must be that I, not in love, but love them like a romantic partner, not just my friend. And I think it really was, I just was really having love for that person, and our friendship was developing to us being closer. And I understood that to be something that it wasn't.
So I think that's where people mess up. They don't recognize what the relationship is. Because I dated somebody my freshman year in college, right? Because we were so close. We kind of connect. We didn't like each other at first, but after that, we just became really good friends, and we hung out all the time. We went to Burger King every day together. We walked to class together. We went to lunch together, and we just didn't know what to do with that energy. So we automatically thought that we were just supposed to be together, and that wasn't the case. We were probably just really, really, really good friends, like best friends, probably. But because at such a young age, you don't know how to classify or basically classify those feelings. You just automatically think like, oh, we're supposed to be together because we get along so well. And I think growing up as an adult, if you don't establish what those feelings are or what those relationships are, you end up getting into a situation that just ends up not being very good.
I believe the foundation of a successful relationship is found in the purpose and not in the perfection. We can't go into a relationship viewing it sensually, the things that we see and the way it makes us feel. We have to go into the relationship spiritually, understanding that we do need God to direct. We do have to have God in our relationship, whether it's a loving relationship between two lovers or if it's a friendship. God should be at the center so that we can understand what love actually is and we can actually execute what love actually is.
Men know. I think as soon as you can be dating a girl for 2 weeks and you might not have no plans on getting married to her next month, right. But I feel like when that's who it is that you want to be with. Right. So anything other than that is crap. It's a waste of time and you're being selfish. Like you're definitely playing with somebody's emotions. You're stringing them along. It's unfair. You're wrong. Karma is coming to get you because you know better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
especially at this age.
I was just about to say.
Too grown now, you know.
That's what it boils down to.
21. I'm just having fun. Like
right.
I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't got really time to be selling those stale cookies.
Yeah, your age really plays a big factor in that.
Yeah.
Right.
So say you're dating someone and you guys have really wanted to get married, but let's say him was having a hard time with work. He finally gets that job. He's finally getting money. Everything's great. A pandemic hits. Everything's crap. Now we kind of have to start back from scratch. But I mean, as far as your goal, like things that maybe you were waiting for and you guys finally achieved that. Or maybe you were telling him, look, I'm going to stay with you. I just need to see that you're going to school, you're getting this, whatever the thing is, whatever it is. Or
I feel like life happens. So if somebody is going to drop you off that fast in reference to, something that you really didn't have no control over, you wasn't the right one anyway.
This goes to saying, just like if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I plan on getting married with that person, I gotta get I'm with her through thick and thin. Like if she was to be in a car accident today and her left side is paralyzed, I still gotta deal with that paralyzed left side and be okay with it. But if that's what I'm looking at, and if I know that's what I want to be married to in the end, and I know that now, then I'm not have to deal with that situation.
You hit the nail on the head, because that's exactly where I was going to. Because I personally feel like relationships are basically a preparation for marriage, right? So beyond that, I feel like you need to see somebody who you're going to marry in all seasons, right? When I say seasons, I'm not talking about like spring, fall. I'm talking about happy, sad, broke, angry, and if you can deal with that person in those times.
There is a fine line between commitment and connection. And what we have to understand is that in commitment, that's out of obligation, but connection is out of values. Let's think about the professional athlete that signs a contract. He is obligated to be committed to the team. Regardless of the situation, regardless of how he feels about things, he is committed. And a lot of times, our scream and our cry, our plea is for, a person to be committed to us. But we have to consider, is it a commitment and connection, or are we just crying for commitment? Connection, on the other hand, actually talks about or highlights values. It's what do I want from this, and and how I see you in my eyes. What treasures do you have, and what treasures do I present?
So what happens if you want kids and the person that you're with, she doesn't want to have kids, and then
We not gonna be together.
you want to be with them?
No. Yeah. Because I want something that you don't want, and I don't want to change you. These conversations are gonna happen before I'm actually in a relationship. Because like I said, my relationships are preparation for marriage. So all these conversations would happen, and the relationship wouldn't probably start if the answers are wrong. Me personally.
There's like this element of being super selfish, and I'm not against it because, you know, sometimes it's necessary, but it's like she can make all the compromises for you, but if she says something outside of this 4-year by the book plan you have, it's like, oh no, there would be a relationship. I feel like sometimes the expectations we have or how we see our life panning out is just so unrealistic, but we stick to our guns for whatever reason, and it's baffling because it's like, you know, you can strive for those things, and I'm, you know, shoot for the stars type of person, but to be so strict and so harsh on a person, you don't know what that's going to look like in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Or when you might need the time for someone to return the favor.
Exactly. Especially in a relationship when it's not necessarily a people-pleasing thing. Like, I don't have to change who I am to be in a relationship with you, but throughout this process, it is about me making sure that you are okay throughout our situation that we have going on. And to be so kind of cutthroat, I guess, and some of your responses is just weird because it's like, that's not even what a relationship looks like.
When your values are compromised, it hurts your reason to commit. When you have to compromise your values, all you have to do is go back and communicate what it is that is changing. You got to think about it. As you grow in age, as you mature in life, things may change. The things that I wanted or desired at 21 are definitely different from what I wanted and desired at 41. But the thing is that if that is the case, I have to communicate it. If I can communicate that effectively, then I can guarantee that you will have a successful relationship.
It's a comprehension barrier, like people's level of intelligence on certain things, and that's no shots. Like sometimes you can have a conversation, you're like, oh dang, they've been missing my point the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's like having to meet people where they are in their level of I hate to say the word intelligence, but how they can, you got to like put it in layman's terms that's unique to that person or individual.
Yeah, you got to tailor it to how they receive the information.
Yes, which can be annoying. So that's the barrier too, like your level of tolerance for that, I think.
I think also being able to be a selfless listener and like actually, like we were talking about, like listening to what someone has to say and not just being prepared to talk at or hearing or assuming that you already know what it is that they're gonna tell you. So just putting that down and being, you know, in the moment with that person that you're having a conversation with to both try to hear each other out on what it is that you're talking about. Because a lot of times people, I think, are saying the same thing or actually understanding each other, but they're not taking that second to really just listen to each other, and that's where things get crossed. Because you could go back and be like, oh, well, okay, I see where we went left here, or I see what I meant and what you didn't interpret. But you have to be willing to actually sit there and listen to the person.
Right. I think some people listen to respond instead of listen to take in the actual message of what that person is saying. And that could cause a battle in the relationship because you're not even hearing what they're trying to say, their side. You're hearing actually what you want to hear at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on. Like, you got to depend on how interested you actually are in that person in order to actually want to actually take heed to what they're actually saying to you.
As we discussed with the groups earlier, the inability to tell the truth will hurt any relationship. And what we got to understand is that truth actually births trust. If you can live out who you actually are, if you can be honest about who you actually are and what you actually want, you can begin to build trust. And trust is one of the foundations or building blocks to a successful relationship. The Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. For love's sake, get understanding.
Thank you so much for tuning in with us and sowing into the anointing. We are truly grateful and would love to welcome you again anytime you want to join us for worship.